And welcome to another episode of the Nindie Focus podcast. My name is Roger. Along with me are my co-host Phil.
Here.
And my co-host Jordan.
Present.
And Mike wasn't able to make it. He has off this week. Like, who approved that PTO? I don't know, but apparently he has off.
Didn't check in with us.
The problem with this is that means the show is going to be 33% less amusing than it normally is.
That's true.
Yes, I know there's normally 4 of us, which should be 25%, but Mike steals a lot of all of our funny because Mike's a funny guy.
That is true. He throws a lot of cultural references in there that are above my head sometimes, but he's a very funny man, but we'll survive. We'll forge on, and he'll be back next week. Are you guys taking PTO? Do I have to sign off on some PTO or something like that? Do I have to talk to HR about this? I'm not sure.
Wait, which of us is HR?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. Well,
I think, Roger, you're probably HR.
Probably. Well, then who's signing the paychecks? I don't know. Welcome to the show. It's episode 19. We're almost at 20, episode 20.
Nice.
Nobody thought we'd make it past episode 3, so look at that.
We showed
Who's
them.
Nobody in this case.
Well, HR. They said, you guys are going to be shut down after episode 3. And I said, oh, just you wait, HR. Just you wait. So yeah, welcome to the show. If you like what you hear, do leave us a review on iTunes or Podchaser or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And I'll have links in the show notes. Any reviews that you leave us, we'll read on the show, and it helps us grow the show as well. So we appreciate that. All right, so we have a lot to cover today. We actually have a review from one of our listeners, which is awesome. And we'll do Monday mini reviews. I'll be sending out links or tweets for that. And for everyone that enters, even if we don't read your review on air, everyone that enters is entered in for a chance to win a $10 eshop gift card in August. Or at the end of August, I should say. It is August at the end. So every month we'll do that. So stay tuned for that. And we do talk about the game that we reviewed this week, which was Agent A. Was that the whole title? Just Agent A?
Agent A, a puzzle in disguise.
Oh, that is quite the subtitle. So we'll talk about that in the switching on a budget section. But before we get into all that, let's go around and tell people what games we're currently playing. And Phil, we'll start with you. What games are you currently playing?
Obviously I spent some time with Agent A, a puzzle in disguise, which you'll get my thoughts on in a little bit. Played about another week or so in Super Blood Hockey. Still continuing to play a little bit above 500 hockey. I'm telling you, I'm going to play this thing through.
Anyone die yet?
Yeah.
I still don't have a death because I keep cycling my
man.
people. I promise you guys this week I will kill somebody just for you.
Please. Whoever misses a shot or something, just be like, okay, it's you.
Yep.
I kind of want to rephrase what I just said, but I'm not going to because I'm just not going to. I put about another hour into Carrion.
Oh, nice.
Which I'm still enjoying, and I don't think I'm going to get tired of that game. I definitely see where the complaints of I wish there was a map came from, because right now I'm kind of in a spot where I don't really know where I should be next.
How far are you?
I just got the power where you can charge through barriers.
Okay. All right. So I'm almost done with the game. So
okay.
Go on. I'm sorry. I don't mean to.
That's okay.
I just wanted to see where you were.
The only other game that I played around with a little bit was a game that Jordan talked about a couple of weeks ago that piqued my interest called Dogurai.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Yeah, so I picked it up. I played 2-3 levels worth of that. I'm enjoying what I've played of it so far. It's not necessarily easy, but it's not overwhelmingly difficult, and it's good fun.
Cool.
Yeah. Like definitely reminiscent of Game Boy style game, but it's kind of cool that the colors change every time you switch to a different level.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and it's got a little bit of Metroidvania to it as well as some brawler. It's I've enjoyed the little bit of time that I spent with it so far.
Nice. Now, does that game have a map?
No, not that I've seen. Well, kind of. It's got like an overworld map where you choose where you go, but it's the levels aren't
Mega Man levels.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not like too confusing.
No. It's just you hop in a level and you run right.
Okay. Well, kind of like Dear God. You just keep running.
But well, we'll get to that because I played some more Dear God. So
yes. I was hoping somebody did.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, crap. I was going to play more of that. I didn't. Anything else, Phil?
No, that's all I put any amount of time into worth talking about this week.
Nice. Jordan, what have you been playing?
So I played through the entirety of Agent Day, so I'll have a lot to say about
nice.
that. So I got through it.
You are smarter than I am. I will say that, sir.
Well, we'll get to that.
Okay.
There's a little thing called the internet.
Yeah.
And then other than that, I did play a bit of Dear God. It's a good thing that I made myself a cup of tea because I have some to spill, which is just that I just can't with this game. I just can't. I tried it again. I died multiple times. One was like a giant scorpion.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, Roger, that I never came back as another animal. I was only ever a baby deer, and I probably died like 3 more times total.
I don't get this. This game
only was ever
weird.
a deer.
Oh my gosh.
But I just couldn't couldn't get into it. It was kind of what I said last week, which is that it wasn't difficult enough to be like fun on the gameplay aspect, but not narratively heavy enough to be intriguing that I wanted to push forward to see that. So it just sits in this weird middle ground, and I still kind of felt that. And I really wanted to play more of it, but I just like, it's one of those games where after I was done playing it, I was just like, yeah, that was enough of that. Like there was no,
No, it's super mindless. It really is. And like, you're not going to get much out of any kind of plot from it. Like I said, I just ran right and jumped.
I know we ranted about this last week, but it does say this is supposed to have you question everything about religion, and I didn't question anything. Like, what? I'm sorry. I just don't get it. I don't get it.
But we're talking about it, so their marketing worked for that.
I guess that's true.
It's like, we're going to make people think this game's a lot deeper than it actually is. Good luck, suckers on podcasts.
They're like, what? Somebody's actually podcasting with this game? That's crazy. Nice. Anything else, Jordan?
Nope. Short week.
Yeah, for me too. I didn't get to play as much as I wanted to. I did play. So I'll start with the game that I played a little bit of. I played a little bit of the Neon Abyss. So I mentioned that a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. I mean, I'm not very far. I beat the first boss, so I was like, okay, that's cool. So, I mean, it's it's a run and gun, right? So it's like kind of twin stick shooter.
Yeah,
did you mention that? Yeah. So,
yeah, it's one of those games where there's so many games in the genre now that are like this that I feel like if you come out with one like this, you have to either do something way different or just be amazing in general. Like everything is just, perfection. And I think there's just some really, really good games out there in the genre that are just like 9 out of 10s, 10 out of 10s for me. Which just makes me think of those games when I'm playing this one. Like it makes me think of like Enter the Gungeon, which I love a lot. Even though it's like, different camera view and all that kind of stuff, it has a lot of the same similarities. Like with the guns and just going room to room and stuff, that I'm just like, I kind of just want to be playing Enter the Gungeon actually.
Yeah. Have you played the second one at all? No,
I haven't, because I know that one is like 2D. Like that's the change they made, was that instead of the like isometric view 3D, it's actually like a 2D shooter. But I've been curious about it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I don't know. The artwork intrigued me for the Neon Abyss. I thought that looked really cool. And it is cool artwork. But yeah, I think you're right. I mean, they have to do something that's just like outstanding. That would be like, wow, like I have not played anything like this. This is amazing. It just didn't grab me. It didn't.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. Like it works. It plays fine. And not everything. It just, it's a good game.
Yeah. I agreed.
Which, isn't necessarily a bad thing. There needs to be good games out there in release. Not every game can be a 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10. That's just how it is.
That's right.
Especially for indies, when you need to get the game out there. Who knows what the budget's like? And if you've been working for 2 years on this without pay, and there's reasons why. But it is a good game, and you could have fun with this game if you like that kind, and you have had your fill of other games like Enter the Gungeon or other kind of twin stick roguelike 2D games, like going room to room and everything. You will find some fun here for sure.
Sure. Yeah. It's not a bad game. It's just like it just didn't grab me, right? Like it didn't pull me in. So, another game I've been playing a game called Sentinels. What is it called? Sentinels of Freedom. I think that's what the name of the game is. Sentinel of Freedom. It is a It is a strategic RPG. Well, I wouldn't say RPG because I don't know if you level up your character. I didn't play too much. I beat a couple levels, but yeah, I didn't out level my character. So it is based off of the Sentinel comic book. It's like the multiverse comic book. It's a pretty rare. I wouldn't say rare comic book, but it's pretty indie. And they made card games, and I believe that there's a board game off of it as well. So this game is made by Underbite, which also created the game Super Dungeon Tactics.
Okay, I've heard of that.
Yeah, we actually reviewed that. You can check out the review on our site. So Sentinels of Freedom is where you actually get to create a superhero in that universe of the Sentinels of Freedom universe. And it's kind of cool because there's actually quite a bit that you can do for customizing your character. There's 2 different stances that your superhero has. And then each stance, they have different abilities or different powers. And then you can select like what kind of powers you might have. You might be like like gears, or you might be like, I don't remember some of the other ones, like robotics and all these different things that you can select from a superhero genre, right? And then you can make your own character, and you can make it look however you want. So my guy has like these guns and he's these gadgets, so he's kind of like a Batman, but more like the Punisher kind of Batman-ish.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And it's there's things I really like about it. I like tactical RPG games, and if you like tactical RPG games, you're gonna like this game because it is very much. There's a goal that the enemies are trying to get to, and you have to stop that. So, like, one of the missions is that they are trying to get to their getaway car, and there's just a horde of them coming through. So there's different paths that they can take. So you can block the different paths, and you can set up different traps, and you can do all this different stuff to try to stop them from escaping. So there's aspects of that if you like tactical games. The one thing I will say that is problematic with the game is really the text is really small on the handheld.
Are you playing it on handheld? Okay.
Yeah, I haven't played it on the TV yet. I've been playing it handheld, and I will say the text is really small. It's kind of hard to read. But it's if you can get past that, it's not terrible. I'm old too, so remember that. Yeah. It's not terrible, but there's things I like about it. I like the fact that you can create superheroes, and it's in a superhero world. I haven't played a whole lot of it. Played a couple levels of it, and like I said, I've enjoyed what I've played so far. So,
what is it called again?
Sentinels of Freedom.
Okay. I feel like I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's
Did it come out? It's new, right?
It came out last week, I think. Yeah, last week.
Brand spanking new.
Yeah. It was on Steam first, and then it came to the Switch, and I do think it's coming to other systems too. But since we talk about Switches, this is a Nindie Focus game, so our podcast. So yeah, so it's on the Switch. And then the other one I have been playing, I mentioned this. I've been playing some more Carrion. I'm almost done with the game. I talked to Mike. Said, Mike, where I'm here, where I'm at. He's like, yeah, you're almost done with the game. I'm at a part where it is kind of brutally hard. Like, but I know the plot twist. They showed me the plot twist. I will say it's predictable. I predicted this like from the first time I saw the cutscenes. I was like,
interesting.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not going to give it away, but it is pretty predictable, but that doesn't take away from the game. It's a good game, and the music. I know Mike talked about this last week, and I paid attention to it this week. The music is really, 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 really good in this game.
Straight up cinematic score worthy. Yes. It's very, very fitting for the game. Really captures and really just it fits the mood so beautifully.
It does. It really does.
What kind of music is it? Is it like, I forget what he said. Is it like metal type, or is it like?
No, it's orchestra.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And it feels eerie. Like, I don't know.
Okay.
The game. I know. I said last week or the week before. I said, I wish that there was, more of the named bosses. I wish there was this. I wish there was. The game grew on me. I mean, I am enjoying it. I'm enjoying being the monster, and it's pretty fun to go around and be the monster pretend that you are like in a horror movie, right? It is pretty fun. Like I said, right now I'm at a brutally difficult part right now, but I think like once I make it past this, I think it's gonna be downhill from here. So but I do plan to finish that game. It's a fun game.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's all I've been playing this week. I meant to play some more Curse of the Moon 2. I ran out of time. But I do want to get into that game because other people I've seen I've conversations with, and they said this is a fantastic game. Like it takes a little bit. It doesn't grab you like the first game, but it's really, really good. So I need to play more of that. So so that's what we've been currently playing. We do have a review for one of our listeners. This comes from Gamerkraytos, and they Jordan, do you want to want to read the review here?
Sure thing. So his review is for Alchemic Dungeons DX by Fly High Works. It is a roguelike game, but crafting your own weapons and items is what sets it apart. Gamerkraytos says it has 16-bit style graphics and music that is good, but nothing mind-blowing. Can you escape the dungeons? It will take skill, good decisions, and luck. And they give it an 8 out of 10.
Nice. Have either of you played this game?
I have not.
I am not
curious.
I like the name. It's nothing to sneeze at.
No.
Mike wouldn't like it because it's roguelike, but
and it has building of things.
This game piqued my interest. I didn't get it yet, but I think I might pick it up. It looks a lot like a Zelda type game, but like roguelike.
It's very old school graphics. I'm looking at it now. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. It looks cool. I was my interest was piqued after I read this review, so I think
it's only $8.
There we go. Oh, I should have picked
$8.
that. I should have picked that game as my switching on a budget game this week. I didn't, but maybe that might be a future pick. But
yeah, there you go.
There is one more other game I did want to mention. I'm sorry. There was one other game I did want to mention because I almost picked this game as our switching on a budget game. Have you guys played the game Manual Samuel?
No. Can't say I've
My
heard of
brain
that.
goes in like 3 different places with this one. I'm curious which one is the accurate one. Probably none of them.
So, well, first of all, before I move on to that, I just want to thank Gamerkraytos for giving us a review. And listeners, if you do want to give us a review, as I said on the top of the show, leave us a review. I send out tweets on Mondays, but you can send us a review anytime of any of the Nindies that you play, and we'll read them online and around the show, and you'll be entered in for a drawing for a $10 gift card at the end of the month. So we'll do that every month. So yeah, keep your reviews coming. So Manual Samuel it's actually kind of an interesting game. So you are this rich guy who has a kind of his everything was handed to him in his life, and then he dies. And he dies because his girlfriend, he like pretty much like doesn't listen to his girlfriend. His girlfriend gets fed up with him, hits him in the head with a bottle of wine, I think wine or something. He stumbles around after that, which you get to play, and it's actually very funny. And then he ends up walking out in the middle of the street and getting hit by a car, and then he goes to hell.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
The artwork is very interesting. It looks like an animation. It looks like something you might see on like the Cartoon Network, like Adult Swim or something like that. So you go to hell.
Oh, I have seen this game before.
Have you? Okay.
Because I just saw how the gameplay works, and I remember seeing someone play it. Yeah. Keep going though, because this game is ridiculous.
It's so you go to hell, and your character, and this is all voiced over, right? So you're there's like this like voiceover like I think it's British, but it's very funny. He does this voiceover thing, and you could work for a living in hell, but your character is like, well, I don't want to do that. So then Death makes a deal with you that if you can survive 24 hours, you can. I think you get your life back. I'm not quite sure. So, anyways, you go back to Earth, back as yourself, but you're all beaten up, and your body's like all destroyed, and everything you do, you have to walk with the controller. So the bottom left button is the left foot, the bottom right left button is the left foot, right button is the right foot. B is to blink your eyes, because your eyes, you need to blink. You need to teach yourself how to
dry
breathe.
out.
Yeah, because they dry out. So then when your eyes start drying out, the screen goes white, and then you have to blink to make that happen. You have to breathe, so you have to breathe in and breathe out. So that breathing in is Y, breathing out is X, and then there's different things. You have to pick up stuff. You have to brush your teeth.
Is this all in first person?
No, it's side scroller.
Okay.
So, but yes, you're manually doing all this with all these different buttons. There's a part where you make coffee and you have to drink the coffee. Well, if you try taking a breath while you're drinking coffee, you start choking. So then you have to cough that up, and then you have to hit a certain button when it's going across like a bar. There's a thing that goes back and forth.
Yeah, almost a quick time event type of thing.
Yeah.
Or a swing meter.
A swing meter, yeah. It is hilarious. And then so that's all the first level is you taking a shower, eating, getting ready to go out, and then you're in a car and you have to drive, and it's a stick shift car, so you have to control.
Awesome. I am all over this game.
It's on sale right now, so I almost picked it as the switching on a budget game, but then I just started playing it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this game is so damn funny. And there's multiplayer, so you can have somebody else play the other. You can be one half of your body, and somebody else can play the other half.
What?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And Death is hilarious. Death is a skateboarder guy, and the way he talks is like, man, I'm trying to do an ollie over here. This sucks.
All right, so that's kind of weird, because 2 of my 3 guesses were, what is a skateboarding game, since manuals are a thing? And 2, it was a stick shift driving game, since it's driving manual. So 2 out of the 3 were taken.
Yeah.
The third one I'm not going to discuss out loud.
It is seriously. I don't know. This game
it's
came out
$250.
Yeah, $250. Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, I think it's.
Oh man, I'll be downloading this as soon as we're done.
Jordan,
it's normally 10.
I was gonna say, do you know it's because it came out in 2018.
It came out August 2018. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's an older game. It came out by I don't know who developed it, but the
Perfectly Paranormal.
Perfectly Paranormal. Okay, Curve Digital is the one that published it.
Yeah.
And I feel like we played other games from Curve. I just don't remember them.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
But yeah, that's hilarious. Oh my gosh, the game is so funny. So that was the other game that I did play. I was going to pick that as the switching on a budget game, but I did not, because I have a different game I want to play.
Mm-hmm.
Before we go into my pick, though, let's talk about the game that we did play for this week. And Jordan, since this was your pick, why don't you introduce the game?
Sure thing. So this game is called Agent A Puzzle in Disguise. Talked a little bit about it last week, gave a quick rundown, but I'll do another quick one right now. So basically, it's if you played the sort of first-person puzzle game type things where you click on stuff and then the camera zooms in and then you do a little puzzle, that kind of thing. If you played any of those kind of games, it's like that. If you ever played The Room or those kind of Escape or Myst, or any of the Notary games, the Japanese games, 9 Hours, 9 Doors, 9 something.
Those are good games, by the way.
Yeah, they're very, very good.
Yeah.
This one doesn't focus as heavily on the story. There is a light one. There is voice acting, which surprised me. I didn't think that this game was going to have actual voice acting and stuff, which is cool. The story is, it's pretty simple. You're a secret agent and you are chasing after another secret agent who is killing other secret agents. So basically you're going after a secret agent as a secret agent who's killing other secret agents for a secret agent. So that's the gist of the story. The art's really cool. I would say it kind of looks like, I don't know, it's weird. it's very well done, but like some of the characters look like it's done with like crayon in a way, or like a very crayon or something, like very good, like that kind of drawing. So the art's really cool. There are a lot of puzzles in this. It took me quite a while. Let's see. This says it has 100 inventory based puzzles and 50 puzzle screens. So yeah, a lot of what you're going to be doing is going around these different rooms, picking up items, then figuring out where these items go, doing a little puzzle to unlock little doors, trying to find keys to unlock other, and just like trying to remember where stuff is in this giant house. Because basically the entire game takes place in and around this giant home, which is the secret agent you're after. She lives there. And it's like her secret hideaway. So that's the gist. I mean, I'll let you guys talk about it first, and then I will talk about it after, since I beat the whole thing.
Yeah. Phil, do you want to go first?
I thoroughly enjoyed this game. I made it through 3 chapters. I thought I was going to hate it because I'm not very good when it comes to puzzle games, because my brain doesn't necessarily put 3 and 6 together and come up with 9. You usually come up with like 52. But this one I didn't have that bad of a time with. I mean, I didn't resort to the internet once in the first 3 chapters. And I stopped right after chapter 3. And chapter 3 was definitely testing the limits of how my brain works, which I think is kind of why I gave up at that juncture. I'm just like, okay, I got to call it right now because I'm starting to have to think way too much. My brain's starting to hurt. I love the art style in it. I think it's really, really well executed as well. Like, plays really easy. None of the puzzles are super mind-bending. It's just a matter of, sometimes it's trial and error, and other times it's just a matter of like getting that next little piece open, and all of a sudden you've got 3 of the things you can do, and you're like, oh heck, I can do all this now. And so then you go and do all that, and then like that'll open up the next section. I think it plays really, really well, really basic, really elementary, but it's done in a very cool way that if you have any interest in a puzzle game, this is the way to go. I'm one of those people that pays a lot of attention to music. It's definitely got that spy vibe to music, because you have to have that there. And the other agent that you're chasing, it's not Roxy, but it's something like
Ruby?
that. Ruby, that's what it is.
Yeah.
She just kind of taunts you the entire time, which just really makes you want to get to her. And you see exactly where the caper happened at a certain part when you're in her house, and you realize that it's that close to like where her home space is. It's a good time. I don't think there's a way to die in it or anything like that. So I mean, it's just a matter of how much you want to cheat and how much you want to stretch your own brain to try to figure things out. There's a lot of trial and error involved, but it's a cute game. I'd recommend it to almost anybody.
Yeah, no, I agree. I didn't play it as much as you guys did. I will say there were some puzzles that I just kind of guessed. Like, there was like early on, there was the one with the clock. I'm like, well, I'll just keep going around until it like does something. And then I actually found where you would get the clue for that.
In the shower.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, oh, there's the clue. The different colored one, where that puzzle with the different blocks, I was like, oh, that was an interesting place where they found that answer. I will say that the one thing I like about these games, so I grew up playing Myst. I played a lot of these types of games. I played, well, I shouldn't say grow up. I was in college when Myst came out. But I played that game a lot. I played that game. A lot of those types of games, I mean, this is not quite the same, but like a lot of the like King's Quest games where you had to kind of like figure out puzzles like that. Or even like The Beast Within, or the Gabriel Knight games. The Beast Within was my favorite one of that. So there's a lot of like these puzzle type of games that I used to play a lot of, and it reminded me a lot of those types of puzzle games, and I liked that about it. It wasn't, like you said, I wouldn't say that they were super hard puzzles, but and the artwork was good. I don't know. I think that I was just like, oh, I don't really want to do puzzles. My mind is all like much at the end of the day. I think that's probably part of it, is that this is going to sound really terrible, but I think I'm at a part of my life where
you're done thinking.
I'm done thinking. Yeah. No, I mean, this is going to sound bad, but I think like my joy in life when I game is I want a really, really good story that's going to just like pull me in and allow me to live in that world, or something that's just going to let me just mind them, not think about things, if that makes sense.
Right.
And and a lot of my day is problem solving and figuring out problems, and I enjoy that. And then doing it for fun sometimes, though, is painful for my mind.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Honestly, that makes sense.
Why I don't play many cooking games.
But I will say this: how much did we pay for this game? What was it?
It was like $2.
$2, yeah.
For $2, this game is probably, I would say, one of the biggest steals for games that we've played on this show so far.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Because, like, what is it, $20 normally?
It's normally $20. Yeah. On sale for $2. The amount of gameplay you get here and the amount of puzzles and stuff, if you never look anything up, like, it's it's a steal at $2. Like, it's crazy at $2.
Yep. Yeah. And I will, so I'll let you, Jordan, because I know you said that you probably did use the internet. I didn't, and I didn't get as far as you, but I didn't use the internet. I will say the one thing that I think I would have gotten to the point where I started using the internet, but I will say that one thing I like about these types of puzzle games is that when you figure it out, you feel good about yourself. You're like, yay, I figured that out, right? So, but I will say if I kept playing this, I would have. I mean, there was times even on the first chapter, I'm just like, I want to look this up. I just want to figure this. I don't have time to sit there and try to lock this out. I just want to look it up. So, but that was my thought. What are your thoughts, Jordan?
Yeah, I mean, overall, it's really solid the entire way through. So you're in the house for most of the game, but later chapters you actually go outside the house in the surrounding area. So you go to like a little island. You go to a little like the beach area outside of the home and stuff. So you kind of get outside of the interior. You do some exterior stuff. But yeah, it's really good the whole way through. The puzzles do get more difficult for sure. Not every single one, but there were some that were just like, the biggest tip I can give to someone playing this game is just make sure you click on everything. Because if it's not something that's going to be useful, there will just be text at the top of the screen as if the character is saying something about it. But if it is useful, then you'll either grab something or something will happen. And like there was one time in particular where I couldn't figure out what to do next, and like I set my Switch down, and I guess I hit a button when I set it down, and when I came back, it was on like this wall, and it had done something. And I was just like, oh, I guess I'm supposed to click this wall. It's the one thing I didn't click. And I was just like, thank you. Like, but I mean, I did use the internet because I did want to get through the whole thing. But I would say 10% of the time I use the internet, it's because I couldn't remember like what room a thing was in. And I was just like, I know, because like it does open up a lot, and there's a lot of backtracking and a lot of like hitting the B button to go back out. In the later chapters in particular, there's a lot of going back. So there were times where I was just be like, okay, what am I supposed to do with this item? And then I would figure it out. I'm like, oh yeah, I totally forgot that I saw that earlier, and this is where it's supposed to go. But I saw that 2 hours ago, and I completely forgot about it. 10% of it is that the puzzles were just actually too hard, and I probably could have figured it out if I sat and like really tried to figure it out in that room for a good amount of time. But it was just, I was like, I can't. But
that's sorry, go ahead.
No, go for it.
I was going to say, even in chapter 3 in the laser room or whatever, trying to figure out the little blinky code thing. Like, I'm getting up and taking pictures of the TV with my cell phone to resort back to put together these codes and stuff. And Rachel's like, what in the hell are you doing right now? And I'm like, it's either this or I write down notes. And this seems a lot easier than writing stuff down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I took so many screenshots either on my phone so that they'd be easier to access or through the Switch, but that was annoying. So you have to go into your screenshots and then go back. So you'll be doing a lot of that because you'll like get a little code that's somewhere. And so you have to remember it for later. And if you don't remember it when you get to the other room, like we're talking like, okay, now it's at 30 seconds to get back to where you were. So you're taking a lot of screenshots on stuff. And then the other 80% of the reason why I looked up stuff, it was just that I was stupid. Was just straight up stupidity.
That's exactly. I got to the point where all I had in my inventory was a hammer and a light bulb. And I'm like, I can't hammer anything. I can't put a light bulb in anything. What am I doing here? Right. And finally I go back outside and it was just like, I'm really dumb. Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of times where I was like, I've done everything in the house, but it was just like, oh, you're supposed to go back outside and do this thing. And there are multiple moments like that actually where it's like I did a thing and it's like, cool, I ordered this thing using the phone and now I'm waiting for the delivery, but like I don't know where to go. And it's like, oh, remember the red box that you did that puzzle in earlier? That's, the mailbox. You have to get it from there. And I'm just like, oh. So there was a lot of stuff like that where it's like, it's stuff that I guess I should have known, or if I really thought about it, it would make sense. But it was more just like, I don't actually understand what I'm supposed to do. And then I look it up and I'm like, oh yeah, it does. That makes sense. So I would say don't be afraid to look stuff up, but if you like these kind of games, like you will get a challenge here throughout. And none of them are so hard. Like for me, these are my favorite types of games because often they do get too difficult. So for example, like Baba Is You, I think is a genius game and is so smart. But there were so many levels in that game that were just too hard. And I would just have to stop and then come back the next day and try again. And ultimately I dropped it because it was just too hard too often. And you're not going to hit that here. Like you'll hit some, and after a couple minutes, you'll be like, I got it now. Or you'll go and find that one last clue that you needed to kind of be like, oh, this is what I was missing the whole time. But for me, at $2, it's a steal. If you like these kind of games, I would say definitely get it. At $20, I would say if you like these kind of games, I think it's worth $20. Otherwise, wait, because it is good, but the fact that it does go all the way down on sale to $2
means that it probably won't be the last time it does it.
Or even at good 10 and or bad. $5. Exactly.
I'd grab it even for $5. I wouldn't complain about 100% for this game in the slightest bit.
And this game's not that old because I think it came out this year. I feel like it came out this year, at least on the Switch.
August of 2019. So coming up on a year now.
Okay, so I was wrong. But so I read. So this kind of just leads into this. I actually read a very interesting article today on Nintendo. I think it was on Nintendo Life, or they had an article on it, and then there was a different article. No, it wasn't on Nintendo Life. It was. I think Nintendo Life may have also alluded to this, but it was. I don't remember where I read this actually, but it was about indie developers and their laments about being found on the Nintendo eShop.
I saw that too.
Did you see that one? Yeah. So, and one thing that they mentioned was the fact that deep discounting your games helps because the way that their algorithm works, or Nintendo's algorithm works on like the top games, is not based on revenue, but based on the number of downloads the game gets. So, if you have a game that's deeply discounted, it will get a lot of should, right? Or hopefully it gets a lot of downloads, right? And then it will be displayed in their like top whatever it's called, like their top.
Yeah, their top sellers or whatever they call that.
Top sellers, yeah, exactly. And I think that's a huge dilemma, right, for indie developers, because I know one of the studios that they interviewed was No More Robots, and I think they do more of the publishing side, but I do think they make games too. But they just said, they're trying to push saying, don't deeply discount your games because like this is your work, like don't do that. But that's why you see games out there for like 9 cents, and then they're on the top of the list because, or they'll get what was it called? I think it was Cubic Games. I think it was the company where they'll do like at the end of the year, they'll do like the 12 days of Christmas, and they give it a bunch of free games, and then all those free games are now on top of the list because they're the ones that are most downloaded, right? So, yeah, I don't know. I think the eShop, I mean, and that's one thing I actually thought this was kind of a cool podcast, right? Because of the fact that we focus on indie games specifically on the Switch. And to give, studios a place that they can highlight their games, and, we also review games as well. So, if there's indie developers out there that are interested in coming onto the show or having their game, reviewed by us, certainly reach out to us. But I think that's one thing that, and I said this in the beginning, and I'll keep saying it again, over and over again, is that the eShop is, one, not well designed. It's hard to find things. Like the eShop on the 3DS was really well designed. You had a section for like games under $10, games under $20, games under $30. And then they had like games for kids and games for this and games for that.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't apply that to the eShop. Now they do have like, I think you can filter out games by like lower prices, or you can filter out games like by for genre types and stuff like that, but it's just not the same as the eShop on the 3DS. And I mean, games can be easily buried on the eShop, and Nintendo, I think, kind of admitted that is going to happen, right? They said that they wanted to put out like 300 games a week on the eShop or something like that. It was a ridiculous amount of games. But but that's, when you see games like this that are discounted by $2 and you're like, ooh, that's a great deal. It helps with their ranking as well. But it is too bad, because I mean, it's good for us as consumers. It's just too bad for studios that put a lot of work into something like this, and then they feel like they have to deeply discount it just so that their name gets out there, right? So
yeah.
I'm going to play devil's advocate with this one and draw an analogy to the restaurant business, because we do a lot of business with like your DoorDashes and Grubhubs and all that kind of good stuff. And kind of the pitch that's brought to us, because they'll take X amount of whatever the sale is, be it 25, 30%, whatever. Be like, well, is 75% of nothing better than 100% of nothing? Like, you're at least still making something where you may not have ever had that sale, even on Agent A Puzzle in Disguise, where they're trying to sell it for $20. But would either one of the 3 or 4 of us have ever bought that game?
Yeah.
No, we wouldn't have
found it.
Yeah, but they still made $8 off of us.
Yeah, that's true. That's $8 they didn't have before.
Exactly.
Although, who knows how much Nintendo actually takes on that.
True.
Right.
So
if they're taking 90% of the cut, they're still shooting them. I mean, it's still something, but it's measly at that juncture. It's 80 cents or whatever.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I mean, it's hard. It's hard for indie studios. I get it.
Oh, yeah.
I get it. So
definitely.
But I don't know. I thought that was an interesting article out there. So, all right. Well, the game that I picked, I mean, you guys already probably see this on my screen, but the game that
I'm already sold. All I see is something that looks like a Western. I am all over this game.
Yeah. So the game is called Blood Will Be Spilled. It's actually made by the same company that made that Feudal game that we played a couple.
Feudal Alloy?
Yeah, Feudal Alloy. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right.
So it is I guess, well, I'll just read you what, let me see if I can find the, here we go. This is the description here. Blood Will Be Spilled is a story-focused spaghetti western platformer with tactical turn-based combat taking place in a completely hand-drawn, harsh world inhabited by insects. You follow the story of Jack, a mosquito bounty hunter, on his path of revenge. That sounds pretty fun, and it is, I think so. Originally, I think it's $15, and let me
correct.
I think I see it for $2. Is that right? Am I seeing
$2.99?
$2.99. So yeah, that's
awesome.
That's the deepest it's been discounted too. So 80% off, and that runs until August 13th, which is next week Thursday. Or when you're listening to us this week Thursday. So if that's something that you're interested in picking up and playing along with us, you can pick that up for $2.99 right now. And
it's pretty recent too. It just came out in February.
Yeah. Well, see, this is another example, right? Where
yep,
game comes out and it's deeply discounted. So yeah, check it out. We would love to hear what you have to say about the game if you play it, or if you have played it. So I'm excited. This is it looks like an interesting game. So, and hand drawn. I mean, can't go any better than that. So
you're a sucker for hand drawn. I'm a sucker for westerns. We're in business here, right?
Yeah, we are. So as long as it has a story, we're going to be good. All right. So before we go, then let's go around and tell people how they can get a hold of us. And Jordan, we'll start with you. How can people get a hold of you?
Yep, you can find me on Twitter at CrypticJordan.
Nice. And Phil, how can people get a hold of you?
I am on Twitter at bnow23.
Nice. And listeners, Mike's not with us, but you can follow him on Twitter at TCThrowers. He also does the Controller Throwers podcast every Wednesday. at 8 o'clock Central Time. And you can go to twitch.tv/TC Throwers, and you can watch the show there. Otherwise, you can listen to new episodes of the Controller Throwers podcast, along with our show and Belle's and Rose's podcast and the Real Dudes podcast. All can be found at gamerheadspodcast.com, and you can download new episodes there. And then you can also read our reviews. And we also do a weekly article about games that we're playing this week. So we would love to hear what you have to say about our site as well. And you can follow Gamerheads, and you can follow this show at Gamerheads PC. And I also do stream on Mondays and Wednesdays around 8:30 Central Time. And that's at twitch.tv/Gamerheads podcast. I almost said Gamerheads PC, but it's Gamerheads podcast. So... Are you laughing over there, Phil?
Nope, not at all. Why?
Okay.
It's probably the ghost in the room with me.
All right. Well, Phil, thank you so much for joining us this week.
It's always a pleasure to be here.
Uh-huh. And Jordan, thank you so much for
you. Like you don't believe me? Come on, man.
Yeah, what Phil said.
Yeah. And listeners, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. Like I said, do leave us a review. We'd love to hear what you have to say about the show. Until next week, stay safe and game on. We'll talk to you next week. See ya.
Take care, buddy.
Bye.